Do you ever get the feeling that you are living the same day again and again? I am having a very strange feeling of déjà vu at this very moment. Here we go again, yes, it is our midweek English Addict Extra. Thank you for joining me today. Hello to you. We are now coming to you live from the birthplace of the English language, which just happens to be England. Yes, here we go again. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? Well, I hope you are feeling happy. I'm not sure how I'm feeling at the moment. I woke up this morning, well, first of all, I woke up this morning to find that we had no electricity. The electricity in this particular area had actually been cut off. I don't know why. So we had to wait for about an hour before it came back on. In fact, during the night, we had 2 power cuts. So the electricity went off in the very early hours of the morning and then later on as well. So I hope, all I can say is I hope that my electricity stays on. It's nothing to do with me. It's not my fault. It's nothing that I've done. And it's definitely nothing that I haven't done. Can you see what I've got in my hand here? Yes, here we go again. We are back in lockdown here in England. I'm sure you've heard the news. So everyone once again is being told that they have to stay at home. If they can stay at home, they are all being told that they have to, well, the advice is stay home, protect the NHS, save lives. So that is what Boris Johnson told us a couple of days ago. So not only England, but also the rest of the UK as well is now in full lockdown. This means that people will have to stay at home if they don't have to go out, if they don't need to work, for example, in an office. And that also means that all shops are now closed. Non-essential shops have been closed. So we are back to where we were last March. If you remember, in March of 2020, and let's face it, how can we forget it? We were in lockdown then. And we're doing the same thing now. So that is what is happening. For those who are wondering, I've had a couple of messages asking, Mr. Duncan, are you okay there? Yes, I'm okay. I'm 100% well. I'm feeling good. Thank you very much for asking. So I'm okay. I am at home. Fortunately, my studio is also at home as well. So fortunately for me, I can do my work and I can talk to you from my house. Mr. Steve, of course, is in the house at the moment. He's upstairs in his office. So he's busily working away as well. So it is a very busy day here. Lots of things happening around this particular country. As you may or may not know, my name is Mr. Duncan. I talk about the English language. That is what I normally do. I like to talk about English. I like to talk about all sorts of topics, to be honest with you. So if there is something you would like to ask or talk about today, you are more than welcome to do so, because we have the live chat. It's true. Yes, we have made it all the way to halfway through the first week of January and also the first week of 2021. Yes, it's Wednesday. We are back together. Yes, it is true. And for those who are wondering what this is, well, this is English Addict, and you can find me on YouTube every Sunday and Wednesday, live from England. English Addict every Sunday and every Wednesday, 2 p.m. UK time. There is a chance, I'm just thinking now, there is a chance that you might see a lot of me over the next 6 weeks. And that is how long the lockdown is going to last for here in England. So we have 6 weeks of lockdown here in England. So you might be seeing more of me than just my twice a week live streams. You might be seeing quite a lot of me. So I hope you don't become too bored seeing me all the time on YouTube. I hope not. We had some snow this morning. Can you believe it? Would you like to see the snow? So this morning, yes, we had some snow. Look. Ooh. So this is the view that greeted me this morning outside my window. Yes, it was snowing outside. Sadly, the snow has now stopped, but this morning it was snowing. Nothing too dramatic, nothing too heavy, but we did have a little bit of snow. Would you like to see Mr. Steve? Okay then, here is Mr. Steve this morning. He was doing something outside the house. Would you like to see Steve? Okay, here he is. So Steve this morning was doing a little bit of work in the garden very early this morning. And you can see the snow is falling. And there is Steve. Hello, Steve. What are you doing? I think he is collecting some of the garden debris. I think that's what he's doing. Yes, it looks like Mr. Steve is in the garden. Or he was in the garden this morning, very early. And that is the view that greeted us early this morning when we found that it was snowing. Of course, by that time, the electricity had actually come back on. So we do have electricity now, fortunately, which means that I'm able to broadcast to you live. Come on, Mr. Steve. What are you doing? Where are you going, Mr. Steve? Stop waving to the neighbours. Go on, get in the house. So there he was, Mr. Steve this morning, busily working in the garden before starting his work. So Steve always likes to keep himself busy, even in the morning. Even before he starts work, he likes to keep himself busy. Oh, I've just remembered we have the live chat. Hello to the live chat. Nice to see you here today. Can I also say a big hello to 3 people who have sent lovely donations? Can I just say hello to Zenek, also Massimo and Maria? Thank you for your lovely donations to my PayPal. Thank you very much. I did receive your lovely donations. And of course, if you want to send a donation to allow my work to continue for the rest of 2021, at least, there is the address at the bottom of the screen. So thank you once again to Zenek, also Massimo and Maria. Thank you very much for your lovely donations. And yes, I do appreciate it very much. I think that deserves a round of applause, to be honest. Definitely. Thank you very much for your donations. We will give some applause now to the live chat as well. Who was first on today's live chat, I wonder? Let's have a look. Oh, hello, Mosen. Guess what? You are first on today's live chat. So, can I say congratulations? You have a very fast finger. I think so. Well done. So many applause. So many to give today. Thank you very much for joining me. Can I say also hello to Vitas? Hello, Vitas. Nice to see you here today. Gigi is here. Gigi Kane is here. Hello, Mr. Duncan. Hello to you as well. We also have Luis Mendes is here today. Hello, Luis. Nice to see you here. Anna Kobe. We also have Inaki, Christina, Beata, Vitas, and also we have Christina, Vittoria, Anna Kobe, Bluesbird. So many people joining today. Yes, I know it is Wednesday, so you can catch me every Wednesday. Not a lot of people realise this, but I have started doing my second live stream during the week on Wednesday, and that is when you can catch me, which is what you are doing now. You have caught me. Today we have a lot of things to talk about. We are talking about influence. Influence. I think influence is something that we might not even realise exists in our lives, because sometimes we can be influenced by things and not realise it. So as you walk around, as you move around in this world, as you see things and hear things, meet people, you hear what people say, you see what they do, quite often these things can have an influence on you. And sometimes they can do it without you even realising, which I always find rather fascinating. So what about you? Is there anything or any person who has influenced you in your life? Anyone out there? So that is one of the questions that we are asking today. What or who has influenced you? We'll be talking about that a little bit later on, and we will be looking at some words connected to having influence. And you might be surprised to find out how many words there are connected to influence. We are also going to look at some very strange English words. As you know, the English language can be a little weird, strange, unusual. So today we will also be looking at some strange English words. Would you like to see something very weird? Now, as you know, I love animals. I love them very much. And here in my garden, yesterday morning, I spotted not one, but two pheasants. Two male pheasants in my garden. But something very strange was happening. One of the pheasants was doing something in front of the other one. Would you like to have a look? Okay, here it is. So there you can see there are two pheasants in the garden, and this was yesterday morning. And if you look closely, one of the pheasants is doing something in front of the other one. Now, I have no idea what this is. I've never seen it before. But it would appear that one of the pheasants is maybe bowing or showing his respect to the other pheasant. I have never seen this before. So if there is anyone out there who knows what this is, what is actually happening between these two pheasants, because one of them is definitely doing something very strange. Oops. Something just scared them then. So keep watching, you will see it again. And it is making a very strange movement. But it seems to be directed at the other pheasant. Here we go. Look, watch. What is he doing? It's almost like he's displaying his feathers to the other pheasant. So maybe this is some sort of territorial thing. Maybe one pheasant is trying to gain control of the territory. There, he's doing it again, look. It's very strange. So I don't know if the pheasant is trying to intimidate the other pheasant. Maybe. So maybe that's what's happening. Maybe the pheasant on the left is trying to intimidate the other pheasant. Very unusual. So if anyone knows what this is, what is actually happening here? It is some sort of... I think it's some sort of warning, to be honest. I think that the one pheasant is actually warning the other pheasant. That's what I think anyway. And there it is one more time. What a strange, unusual thing to see. So if anyone knows what that is, what is happening there? What are those pheasants doing? One of them seems to be displaying his feathers to the other male pheasant. But why? I don't really know. I'm not sure. I've never seen it before. Yes, Oleg. Oleg says, I think one of the pheasants is trying to be the alpha male. So when we talk about alpha male, we mean the dominant male. So quite often in the wildlife, some people might also say that in human society, you might find that people try to be the dominant person. Maybe in a relationship, you might have one person who is dominant, the alpha, and then the person who is not as dominant is often described as the beta. So you have the alpha and the beta. So those two things are often referred to. Saeed says maybe he wants the partner. Well, can I just say they are two males, you see? So perhaps, maybe, who knows, you see? Might be two males, they might be attracted to each other. So that's what's happening, you see? I don't know, I've never seen this before. Very interesting. It might be a mating dance, but as I just pointed out, they are actually two males, you see? But they are beautiful birds, I must be honest with you. They are lovely birds. And the pheasants will often come into my garden because there is always food, you see, for the birds. So I always put food out for the birds. So that is one of the reasons why pheasants and also many other birds come into my garden, because I like to feed them. Layla, oh hello. Layla says, my son is a real alpha at home. So in wildlife, in anthropology, we often talk about alpha, the alpha male, the dominant male. And quite often, maybe if you are talking about a group of animals that are together and they are walking around or roaming around in a group, quite often you will have one of that group. One animal in that group will be the dominant one. They will be described as the alpha male. I have never heard the word woo. Yes, woo. Woo. If you woo someone, it means you try to attract them. You are doing something to attract another person. Animals do it. Human beings do it. Maybe you wear some nice clothes. Maybe you put some aftershave on your body. Maybe you will wear some beautiful clothing, or perhaps if you are a lady, you might wear some makeup, some cosmetics to make yourself look attractive. So yes, if you are wooing someone, it means you are trying to become romantically connected to them. You are trying to attract them. So yes, it does happen amongst all animals, including human beings. Yes, yes, it's true. Hello, can I say hello to Anna? Yes, a couple of pheasants. The poor animals must be hungry. Fortunately, my birds never become hungry in the garden because I always give them lots of food. So the word woo is, I suppose you could say it is a verb. You woo, or maybe you could use it as a noun. So to woo someone is to try to get their attention. You want them to notice you, you see. You want to become maybe emotionally involved with the other person. Very nice. Very nice. Tomek is here. Hello, Tomek. A little bit later on, we are talking about influence. Tomek says, could you describe beta as the submissive one? Yes, that is true. Yes. So maybe in a relationship, if there are two people in a relationship, the one that is the most dominant might be described as the alpha, and the one that is more passive or submissive is the beta. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the man is the beta and the woman is the man is the alpha and the woman is the beta. You see, it doesn't necessarily mean that. I've met people, I've had friends in the past whose female companion is much more dominant than the male. So I've seen people in relationships where the woman has more control in the relationship than the man. So just because there is a man and a woman together does not necessarily mean that the man will always be dominant. It doesn't always mean that at all. Hello to Grace Chin. Hello also to Fazil. A lot of people now coming on the live chat. Nice to see you all as well. It would seem that in any group or gathering of people, there is always somebody who tries to be the dominant one or to stand out. Marietta, that is right. You see, yes, I think that is a good point to make. We have something else coming up today, by the way. We have the mystery idiom. Would you like to have a quick look at today's mystery idiom? So this is something we are going to do every Wednesday. I will show you a picture, and this picture will describe I just saw something on the live chat, a great comment there. Mahmad says the girls are always dominant. That might be your opinion. Thank you very much. Here is today's mystery idiom. Just say what you see. Here it is then, the mystery idiom for today. What is it? So just say what you see. Say what you see. It is a well-known expression in English. It is an expression that we do use quite often in the English language. So if you think you know what it is, please let me know on the live chat and I will give you the answer a little bit later on. You will now have time to think of the things that influence you, the things that have influenced you maybe over the years, or maybe things that you've seen over the past few months during lockdown where you are, maybe something that has influenced your life, maybe something that has changed your life completely. Today we are talking all about influence. Not all of the subjects I talk about are negative ones. After all, there are lots of lovely things in the world that can be discussed. For example, the way in which certain people and things can influence you. The good influences are the ones that help you to move in a positive direction. People can influence you a lot, especially during your young years. I remember when I was at school, there were two teachers who influenced me a great deal. Some of the things they said still resonate with me today. My English teacher, Mrs. Ryder, and my art teacher, Mr. Stevenson, both gave me lots of encouragement and useful words of advice during my school days. Of course, it is possible to be influenced later in life as well. Maybe a chance meeting or a certain event occurring can leave an impression on you, even as you get older. My own life was affected by a midlife event after working abroad in China. The time I spent there really did influence my life in many ways, by the things I experienced and the people I met. My time in China still influences me to this very day. The word influence can mean persuade, sway, control, pressure, power. One thing can influence something else. Habits and behavior can be changed due to the influence of or from something. In nature, the influence of certain events can have an effect on other things. Heat, cold, gravity, and any combination of the aforementioned can have an effect on our surroundings. Such influences can either be positive or negative. What things have influenced you in your life? Would you say that the positive influences outnumber the negative ones? In recent times, we have seen how the influence of one or two people can change the way in which others behave. As a side note, the word influence derives from astrology, when it was widely believed that the position of the stars had an effect on the flow of human destiny. These days, we like to think that we all have the ability to influence each other. It's not just the well-known or the famous who can make a difference. Sometimes a small act of kindness or a moment of patient consideration can have a much bigger effect and leave a larger impact on others than we realise. It is true, yes, you never know. As you meet people in life, you never know what your influence on others might actually be. I hope you are feeling good today. I really do. For those who haven't heard the news, we are once again in lockdown here in England and right across the UK. How are things where you are? Are you still having to stay at home? Do you still have to stay at home to do your work? So a lot of things at the moment have changed over the past few hours. We are all now being told to stay in our homes and work from home if we can. So the big question today is there something, maybe a thing, what or who has influenced you in your life? Is there a person, is there a thing, maybe something that has influenced you in some way? So to influence is to take something away from another thing, maybe something that has an effect on you. It might change your behaviour in some way. One thing can influence another thing, as I mentioned in that video. Beatrice says, I think Beatrice is actually having difficulty with her Wi-Fi today. I hope you will sort that out. We also have Belarusia here. Hello, Belarusia. Welcome once again. Nice to see you back. Sandra is here. One or two people are saying, Mr. Duncan, you have influenced me. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Sport in general has influenced my life a lot as a discipline to follow. Christina, thank you very much for that. One of the things that used to happen quite often in the past, even here in the UK, we used to have something called conscription. So conscription is when you have to join the army for a certain period of time. And some people believe that that should be brought back. So we don't do it anymore. We used to do it many years ago, and certainly during the Second World War, we had conscription, where people of a certain age, men of a certain age, would have to go into the army and would have to go to war. We don't do it anymore, though, even though there are some people who believe that we should bring conscription back. So if you have conscription, and I know there are some countries that actually still have this. I think in Vietnam they still have conscription, where for a certain period of time you have to join the army. You have to go into the army as a cadet. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. Sandra says, oh, Sandra, thank you very much. It's very kind of you, Sandra. Mr. Duncan, you have influenced people to learn English. For many years, I had no motivation or continuity. Now I watch your videos and I listen to you, and I'm slowly improving. Thank you, Sandra. It's very kind of you to say. Yes, I suppose teachers. We often think of teachers. As I mentioned in my video, quite often teachers can have a big influence on your life. Sometimes those influences can be positive, but also sometimes they can be negative as well. Not so good. But yes, I was very lucky. When I was at school, I had a couple of really nice teachers, 2 teachers who would often give me their time. And I suppose you might say that they influenced me during my life. Hello, Alessandra. Also we have Jurshid is here as well. Hello, Mr. Duncan. Nice to see you again. Also Tadas. Nice to see you too. Where is Mr. Steve? Well, Steve is working, you see, because it's Wednesday. So Mr. Steve has now gone back to work, even though he is now working upstairs. So he's in his office because we have gone back into lockdown. We have once more gone into lockdown. The government has told us all to stay at home and only leave our houses if it is absolutely necessary, unfortunately. Mr. Duncan, my teacher encouraged me to watch your videos, and now I am an English addict. Thank you, Beatrice. That's nice to know. I do know that there are many schools who show my video lessons in their classrooms as a way of getting people or encouraging students to become more interested in English. So that's nice. Would you like to know one of the most unusual places where my lessons are shown? How about prison? It's true. My lessons are actually used in France, in some French prisons. I'm not joking. A couple of years ago, I actually had an email from someone who was in charge of a French prison, and they asked if it would be possible to show my video lessons to their inmates. And so that's what happened. That is what they are doing. Of course, I don't charge them. I don't charge them anything. They do it. They can use my material, and I don't ask for money from them. So they don't pay me. It is all done for free. Hello, Mr. Duncan. I've been watching you since 2011. Oh my goodness. So you've been watching me for nearly 10 years. That's incredible. Nice to see you here again. Indalecio. Nice to see you back here as well. Lovely. Milad is here as well. Also we have Saturino. Oh, Saturino has just joined in as well. Thank you, Saturino. Nice to see you here as well. Very nice. So a lot of people joining in now. For those who are still, maybe some people are still recovering from Christmas and the New Year. And of course, there are some countries that have not celebrated Christmas yet. Some will be celebrating Christmas later than we do. Hello also Mustafa. Hello Duarte. Oh, apparently in Brazil we still have conscription, compulsory enlistment in the army. So yes, in Brazil it would appear that yes, for a certain period of time people have to join the army. So we used to have it here, you see. We used to have conscription here, but we don't anymore. We don't. But yes, the point I was making is joining the army for a certain period of time can give you certain disciplines, you see. So maybe it can improve your behaviour, or maybe you can learn new things. So maybe joining the army, becoming a cadet for maybe a year or 2 years can help you to become a good person. Maybe a person who can control their emotions or their way of thinking. So yes, I think so. Conscription. We don't have it here. There are a lot of people who believe that young people nowadays should be put into the army for maybe 2 or 3 years. I don't know. It's for some it's a very controversial subject. I think so. Mustafa says, I have influenced many things in my life. I am addicted to chewing jat and I can't give it up. So what can I do now? I don't know. First of all, I don't know what jat is. I think maybe it's a type of tobacco or something that you chew that gives you a certain amount of pleasure, maybe. I'm not sure if it's a type of drug. Maybe it is. I'm not quite sure. But I have heard of it. I think it's like tobacco or something that you chew. And I think it can actually have an influence on your brain. I think so. Oh, Beata says we have a day off. We are actually having a public holiday here in Poland because it is the day of the 3 wise men. Yes, so for some people, Christmas is actually coming later. So it really does depend on which actual calendar you follow. It really does. Marmad says, I am influenced by myself. Very good. If you have self-control, if you are able to influence yourself, maybe you are very good at encouraging yourself to do good things or to be a good person. Yes, I think that's a good idea. Brilliant. I like it. Sandra says Mr. Duncan's pronunciation is a good influence because it's very clear. Thank you very much for that as well. As I always say, if you are an English teacher, if you are teaching something, then you have to do it clearly, whatever it happens to be. Whatever you are teaching, you must do it clearly. I think so. So let's have a look at some words, shall we? There are many words that we can use to describe influence. So we are going to look at them right now. Well, I suppose when we think of influence, we think of people who can influence other people. So maybe something they do can have an influence on other people. We often describe this sort of person as an influencer. An influencer. So a person who can encourage people to do something in a certain way can be an influencer. We often think of influencers on YouTube. So a person who might have a lot of viewers or a lot of followers might actually be described as an influencer. They have influence. You can be influenced. You were influenced. You are under the influence. I like this one actually. If you are under the influence, it means you are under control of a certain thing. So perhaps you can be under the influence of alcohol, you see? Under the influence. There can be good influence and bad influence. So something that gives you a positive message or something that encourages you to do something in a good way can be positive. It is a good influence. And then, of course, you have bad influence, something that encourages you to do something wrong or something in a bad way can be described as a bad influence. Or maybe we can say negative influence. So it is possible to have good influence and bad influence. Oh, Mustafa says, yes, it is a type of tobacco. Oh, okay. I have heard of it. Jacked. I have heard of it. Hello, Anna Carmen. Your look is very interesting with your beard. Oh, thank you very much. You remind me of a Viking. Surely you are too tall to be a Viking. Am I right? Thank you, Anna. Anna Carmen. Well, yes, my beard does look a little bit like a beard that a Viking might wear. But as I understand it, Vikings were actually much shorter, you see. Vikings were not very tall. However, I am very tall, so maybe I am not a Viking. I think so. Rosa is here. Hello, Mr. Duncan. I am quite late today. I am very busy. And Happy New Year to everyone who is on the live chat. Yes, well, I haven't said Happy New Year today because I said it on Sunday, you see. So I don't want to say it too many times because it might become boring. But if I haven't said it to you yet, can I wish you a Happy New Year? I hope you have a super duper 2021. Even though here in England at the moment things are not going very well because we are now in lockdown once more, unfortunately. Oh, so here we go then. Let's have some influence words, shall we? Would you like that? Okay, well, we're doing it anyway. Influence words. So when we think of influence, quite often we think of power. Interesting. Power. So to have influence quite often is to have power, to have the ability to change something, or maybe to change the way a person feels or thinks. You have power. You have influence. So maybe, perhaps you want someone you know to help you do something because they have influence. So quite often we will ask a person, maybe in a certain job, or maybe they have a certain position, to help you do something because you believe that they have influence, they have power. So when we talk about influence, quite often we will talk about power, having power. You have influence. I suppose this is quite a good one. To influence someone is to pressure someone. So to influence is to give another person maybe instructions, or maybe to encourage them to do something in a certain way, or maybe you want to change a person's opinion. So quite often we will try to influence how another person thinks in their mind. So you might have to pressure that person. You give them pressure. You try to change their mind. You influence them. You use pressure. Here's another one. I like this word, sway. If you try to sway someone, it means you try to change their way of doing things. Or maybe you try to persuade them to do something in a different way. You try to sway their opinion. You try to sway their feelings. Influence. Sway. Here's another word. A person who has influence will often be described as having authority. So a person who has influence, quite often they have some sort of control over things, maybe in their work or maybe in their position in a company. You have authority. So I suppose the thinking is, if you have authority, you have influence. You have the ability to change what other people think. Here's another one. Weight. Weight. So when we talk about weight, it can be putting pressure or trying to influence a person to do something. You put weight on something. You influence something. So maybe you can do it psychologically or physically. So one thing can have an influence or have weight on another. We also think of control as well. When we talk about influence, we can also talk about having control over something. So one thing controls another thing. Once again, quite often this will happen in business, or maybe if a person has a position of power, they have control. They can make changes. They can influence what other people do or think. They have control. Another word, this one is quite negative. So a lot of people think that this word is a negative word. Manipulate. If you manipulate, it means you change. You do something that will alter the way a person thinks, or maybe the way something happens. You manipulate something. I suppose at the moment you might say that in the United States, people are talking about voting, and some people are trying to manipulate the voting system. So some people believe that there are people who are manipulating the voting system in the United States. Some people believe it, and, well, most people don't. Manipulate. You try to influence something. You try to change it by doing something. You manipulate. Here's another word I used earlier. Persuade. Oh, okay. Yes, I like this word. If you try to persuade someone, it means you do something to try and change their mind. So maybe if one person believes that something is right and you believe that it is wrong, you might try to persuade that person to change their opinion. You try to influence their way of thinking. Here's another one. This is an interesting phrase. Have you ever heard of a moment where someone might pull strings? You see, if you pull strings, it means you might have influence or control over something. So a person with a position of power might pull strings. They will change the way something happens. Maybe they will help you to get a job in their company. They will pull strings. They will try to use their own influence to change another person's decision. Inarchy. Hello, Inarchy. What I can't stand is a YouTube influencer who names themselves as an authority in a certain matter whilst having no idea about it. There are lots of people on YouTube who are like that. I think so. So if you pull strings, it means you have the ability to change what a person thinks, or maybe you can do something for another person. You pull strings. You manipulate something. So to pull strings, yes, like a puppet. So when you see a person controlling a puppet, normally the puppet is on strings, like this. So someone is pulling my strings. Like that. Well, that was weird. And we have another one. Oh, maybe you know someone who has influence. Maybe a person who can influence other people. Perhaps you have a friend or you have friends in high places. Oh. So perhaps you know someone who does have influence on other people. So to have influence can be yourself or maybe another person. Maybe you know people who have a lot of influence. Maybe you know friends or you have friends in high places. I like that one. And I think we have one more. A person who can influence other people might be described as a mover and shaker. A person who can influence other people. Maybe they have a position of power or authority. You might describe that person as a mover and shaker. They are able to get things done. They are able to manipulate or influence other people. So you might ask your friend who knows lots of other people in business, you might ask that friend to talk to other people about your business. You see, maybe you have a good idea. So you have to find someone who knows how to talk, or maybe a person who knows lots of other people. They are described as a mover and shaker. They have the ability to manipulate other people, to influence other people. So quite often we think of influence as being a positive thing. However, it can also be used in a negative way. Maybe children. So quite often you will hear children being described as a bad influence. So perhaps your child goes to school during the day and then they come home and they start swearing. They start using bad language. And you think, where did they hear that? And then you find out that their friends at school are teaching them rude words. So you might say that their friends are a bad influence. They are teaching them bad things. Yes, you can be under the influence. If you are under the influence, it means you lose control of your abilities to control yourself. You are under the influence, to lose control of your abilities. Maybe you have some alcohol, or maybe something illegal. We can describe that person as being under the influence. And quite often that is used in a negative way. Marietta says, oh, this is a very good point. Marietta, after all you've just said, I reaffirm that parents are the most powerful influences in a positive and perhaps also a negative way as well. I think you're right. Yes, parents have a lot of influence. They have a lot of power. So yes, you are right. I think it's true to say, very fair to say, that parents have a lot of influence. We're going to look at the mystery idiom once more. Here it is. Today's mystery idiom, all you have to do is say what you see. Whatever you see on your screen, just say it. I will give you the answer a little bit later on. But right now, as we approach 1 minute past 3 o'clock on a Wednesday, it's time to take a look at one of my full English lessons. Yes, on my YouTube channel, there are lots and lots of video lessons all about the English language, and now we are going to take a look at an excerpt from one of those lessons. And then after that, we will be back with some very strange English words. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I hope so. Oh, I haven't said that for such a long time. Do you remember when I used to introduce every video lesson like that? Anyway, welcome to another full English lesson. Yes, I have decided to make another one, just in case you were thinking that the previous one was the last ever. Of course, the name of the game is Teaching English in England. That is where I am. England also happens to be the birthplace of Sherlock Holmes, James Bond, Harry Potter, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Oliver Twist, Mary Poppins, Danger Mouse. Come to think of it, I don't think any of those people are real. I think they are fictitious. They are made-up characters. They don't really exist, except in our imagination. Oh, I seem to have strayed a little off topic here, so before I get any further off the rails, let's get back on track by beginning today's full English lesson right now. Can you see what I'm pushing here? It's a very useful piece of garden apparatus, a handy thing to have about when you have large loads and heavy objects to move around. This is a wheelbarrow. You will often see builders and gardeners pushing one of these around. You can transport heavy and cumbersome things safely in a wheelbarrow. You can put garden debris, such as dead leaves and pulled up weeds, into a wheelbarrow, so they can be taken away and disposed of more conveniently. On building sites, you will often see wheelbarrows used for moving heavy material, such as cement
or bricks from one place to another. A wheelbarrow typically has one central wheel, which can either be air-filled or solid. This particular wheelbarrow has been designed to be lightweight, while at the same time robust and sturdy. This is what makes the wheelbarrow an essential tool for making those heavy-duty jobs much easier to carry out. But be careful not to overfill it, or it might tip over, leaving you with an even... Here's a word that seems to be pronounced one way, but is in fact pronounced another. The word is cumulative. The first syllable of this word sounds like the letter Q. The word cumulative is an adjective and means increasing or increased in quantity, degree or force by successive additions. For example, the addition of other things over time creates a cumulative effect. We often talk about a cumulative effect when discussing health issues. The damage caused to the human body by years of poor diet and neglect can be described as being cumulative. We often talk about the cumulative effect on the environment caused by steady ecological neglect. A cumulative effect normally occurs over a period of time, sometimes over many years. The process of accumulation is cumulative, accumulating, growing, progressive, accruing, snowballing, mounting. Poor health in middle age is seen as being caused by cumulative neglect. We can also use the word accumulative in this way too. Whenever we talk about something being subjective, what are we actually saying? Well, the word subjective is often used when discussing opinions and points of view. We often refer to the subjective nature of something. The word subjective relates to each individual's view or perception of something that can be translated in many ways. A good example of this occurs when talking about art. A painting or drawing of something might be interpreted in many ways. When we look at a piece of art, we often try to work out what its meaning is. What is the artist trying to convey? What are they expressing? Of course, one person's interpretation might differ from others. There might be many ways of looking at this particular piece of artwork. So in this case, we can say that the views are all subjective. Each view expressed is a personal point of view. So, any opinion expressed concerning a topic or issue can be described as being subjective. It is an individual point of view. It is a personal opinion. It is open for debate. It is subjective. Thank you for watching me teaching you. And of course, ta-ta for now.
And for those who are wondering, yes, that was Mr. Steve pushing me away in the wheelbarrow. Nine minutes after 3 o'clock here in the UK right now. I don't know what time it is where you are because I'm not there, you see. I'm here. I hope you are having a good Wednesday, yes. If you haven't already heard the news, we are now back in lockdown here in England and right across the UK. Everyone has been told once more to stay at home, protect our National Health Service and also save lives. So now we have to stay at home once again for the next 6 weeks. What am I going to do for the next 6 weeks? I suppose I could come on here and talk about English with you. So what about where you are? I know there are many countries at the moment that are in a very similar situation to here in England, where you are also having to stay at home. So I will try my best to keep you company during this very strange time. I hope you will stay with me whilst we are all locked down together. But as I always say, there is always something positive to be found in adversity. There is always something positive to find. So we can all stay here on YouTube, join in together, and hopefully have a few smiles and learn some English at the same time. Talking of which, yes, we do have the live chat very busy today. One thing I love about doing this, and there are many reasons why I love doing this, but one of them is it gives us all a chance to talk to each other. So not only me talking, but also everyone chatting to each other on the live chat as well. So I love the fact that we all come here together to share our love of English, but also we come here to get to know other people at the same time. So I love that. By the way, outside, I haven't shown you much of the view outside at the moment. Here it is. So here is the view outside. Yes, it is very misty. This morning we had snow. It's true, I'm not joking. We actually had some snow this morning. So this is what I showed you earlier. Here is the front garden this morning. You might notice that it is snowing. And you might also see Mr. Steve as well. There he is. There is Mr. Steve. Very early this morning, he was outside doing some work in the garden. I don't know how he does it, but Mr. Steve had a lot of energy this morning, so he went outside to do a little bit of gardening, even though it was snowing. He still decided to do it. So there he was this morning, Steve, doing some gardening in the snow. The one thing Steve doesn't realise is that I was filming him. Steve! Ah, yes, can you see that I am filming you whilst you are working? Oh, Steve, stop talking to the neighbours. Come on, go in the house. Go and do some work. So there he was, Steve, this morning in the snow. Even though now the snow has actually stopped. We don't have any snow now. It has stopped falling. We have some strange English words to look at now. Would you like to see some unusual English words? Okay, let's do that, shall we? It sounds like a good idea. After all, that's the reason why we are here, to talk about English. Some strange English words for a Wednesday afternoon. Apparently in Spain there is no lockdown, but there are restrictions on how people can move around. I think so, yes. Well, here we have been told that we have to stay at home. We have to stay at home and work from home if we can. So that is what is happening here for the next 6 weeks, because things are not getting better, unfortunately. So here we go, some strange English words. Here is a strange English word. Do you know what the word is? The word is brittle. Brittle. I will say it again. Brittle. If something is brittle, it means it breaks very easily. Something that is fragile, something that might break very easily, can be described as brittle. So you are describing the appearance or maybe the way it reacts to movement or pressure. We can say that something is brittle. Maybe if you are walking on ice and the ice is not very thick, It is very thin ice. You might say, be careful, be careful. Don't go on the ice because the ice is brittle. Brittle. It will break very easily. So something that is brittle is something that breaks easily. Here's another one. Now earlier, I like this word. Earlier, we were talking about alpha and also beta. Alpha is the strongest and beta is maybe the subservient or the less strong in the group. So alpha and beta. In a relationship, such as a marriage, quite often you might find that the woman is more stronger than the man. And maybe the woman will sometimes complain and nag and always complain to the husband. They will always say, oh, why don't you do more around the house? Why don't you do more gardening? Oh, you always sit there watching television. And we might describe that man as being henpecked. So if someone is henpecked, it means they are often complained to, or maybe in a relationship, one person in the relationship will often complain to the other. Quite often, when a woman is always complaining to her husband, we might say that the husband is henpecked. Have you ever heard that before? It is an interesting and some might say rude expression. But if you henpeck someone, it means you constantly complain or moan at that person. You henpeck that person. Oh, hello Keenan. Hello Keenan. Please can you say my name? Hello Keenan. Nice to see you here today. And welcome to my live chat. Can we see your snow angel? Oh, okay then. Just for a few moments, I will let you see my snow angel that I made a couple of years ago. Here it is now. And there it was, my little snow angel made in the garden. I think that was about 2 years ago. Doesn't time fly? It really does. Time does fly by. We are looking at some strange English words today. We just looked at henpeck. Henpeck. A person in a relationship who is often bullied, or maybe the person in the relationship who is receiving a lot of criticism or complaints. Henpeck. Here is another one. Oh, I like this word. Pernickety. Pernickety. Have you ever heard of this word? A person who is pernickety is fussy. They often complain. They are a person who often complains. They object to things. They are a person who might complain a lot about maybe the food that they're eating in a restaurant. They might complain about it. Pernickety. I like that word. I really do. Do you know a person who always complains about things? Maybe a person who always complains about the weather, or maybe they are very fussy about the food that they eat. They are very pernickety. I like that word. Hello in Paris. Apparently in Paris it is coming up to 18 minutes, or should I say 20 minutes past 4 o'clock. So yes, in Paris, you are 1 hour ahead of us. Here's another strange English word. We are looking at some unusual English words before we finish today. Bestow. If you bestow something, quite often this means you give, you hand over, or you hand down something. You bestow something. To hand something to another person. To give something. To offer a gift or an item. You might bestow. Bestow. Another word coming up now. Oh, I like this one. This has a sort of French sound. Penchant or perchant or penchant. Or you might have a feeling towards something, something you like, something you fancy, something that you desire, something that you have a liking for. You have a penchant for something. Ooh. So if you have a penchant, it means you like something. You have a certain liking, a certain type of desire, something that you enjoy. Another word now. I will be with you for another 5 minutes and then I'm going. Here's another strange English word for Wednesday afternoon. Guarantor. Guarantor. A person who will represent you, or they will offer to pay your debt. If you can't pay it yourself, they will stand in your place. They will pay the debt for you. So quite often if you want to borrow money from someone, you will often need a person who will take the responsibility for that debt if you can't pay it. So quite often we will say a person who is a guarantor. A guarantor. So they are there in place if you cannot pay the bill. So that is a good way of using that word. And quite often that is the way we use it. A guarantor. Something that can be felt, something that can be sensed, something that you feel, something that you are aware of is palpable. Palpable. So if something can be felt or sensed around you, quite often we will say that it is palpable. The atmosphere around me is very strong. It is palpable. It can be sensed. It can be felt. Finally, we have one more word, a person who has values, a person who has scruples, a person who has a very good way of doing things. Maybe they are honest, maybe they are pure, maybe their way of behaving is very fair. You might describe that person as having scruples. Another strange, unusual English word. Scruples. So today we've had some unusual words. I will go through them again. Brittle. It means something fragile, something that can be broken very easily. Henpeck. To pick on or bully or constantly complain to someone. Pernickety. A person who is fussy, a person who often complains about things. They are a very fussy person. They are pernickety. Penchant, something you like, something that you often desire, something that you really like is your penchant. Guarantor, a person who will stand in your stead, normally paying a debt or a person who will be there to stand in for you if you can no longer pay your way. They are a guarantor. Palpable, something that can be felt. It is palpable. You can sense it. You feel that thing. It is palpable. A good, honourable person, they have scruples. They have scruples. They are a person who is honourable, a good person. They are a nice person, honest, fair. They have scruples. And that is it. Those are the strange words for today. I hope you've enjoyed them. We have done a lot of things today. We've only been on for 1.5 hours today, but we have got through a lot of things. Can I just explain that there are no live captions? However, later on you can watch this again, and yes, there will be captions later on. So not on the live stream, but there will be subtitles, there will be captions later on. So I hope you will check those out later on. Hello to, hello, we have Irene. Hello, Irene, and welcome to my live chat. Thank you, Irene. You are a little bit late today, but don't worry, it's all right. Can I say a big thank you once again? Because we had a lovely, in fact, we had 3 lovely donations. Zenek, Massimo, and also Maria. Thank you for your lovely donations once again, just in case you didn't hear me say it earlier on today. Thank you very much. Thank you for your lovely donations. I do appreciate them very much. Thanks a lot. Before I go, I will give you the answer to today's mystery idiom. Here it is. Quite a few people got this right, by the way. Here it is, the mystery idiom. Mr. Duncan, can you please tell us what it is? I will, because that's the kind of guy I am. So we had some hands, we had some guns, and we also had some glue. So what do you normally do with glue? Normally you will stick things. So your hands are being stuck to the guns. And that is where we get the expression from today's mystery idiom, bing, stick to your guns. Congratulations to those who got it right. We did have quite a few answers, actually, correct answers today. Stick to your guns. And the meaning is to not give up or change your belief or opinion, to not be swayed by others, and to carry on with the same determination as before. You have decided to stick to your guns. So even if people criticize you, even if people tell you not to do it, you carry on because you believe in the thing you are doing. You stick to your guns. There it was, today's mystery idiom. I will be back with you when I can hear you ask. I will be with you on Sunday. Don't forget, I'm back on Sunday from 2 p.m. UK time. You can actually follow me on Sunday and Wednesday every week from 2 p.m. UK time. I will give you a few moments to check those times. Every Sunday and every Wednesday, 2 p.m. UK time is when you can find me here on YouTube. That is almost it. Palmyra says, we are stuck in quarantine. Yes, you are right. So are we. So lots of people now are having to stay at home. We have to stay in the house. We can't see our friends. We can't see our relatives. Many people now can't even go to work. So for people who are running businesses, they have been told that they must close, they must shut their businesses. For shops, many businesses, pubs, bars, restaurants, they have all been told that they have to close, unfortunately. Even though things are not good, once more, we can always share the time together. So I hope you will share some time with me on Sunday from 2 p.m. UK time. And don't forget, Mr. Steve is with us on Sunday. Yes, Mr. Steve will be back with us on Sunday. So I hope to see you then. That is it. I must say this 90 minutes has gone by very quickly. Thank you very much for your company. I hope you've enjoyed this live stream. Something different. Something to cheer us all up during these very strange times. Thank you, Bluebirds. Thank you, Beata. Thank you, Christina, Vitas, Rosa. Thank you very much for your company today. Thank you also, Belarusia. See you later. Rosa, Beatriz. We also have Valentina. Thank you very much for joining me today. I will give you a few moments to say goodbye to each other as well. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English, saying thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. See you soon. Sunday, 2 p.m. UK time is when I am back with you. And of course, don't forget you can watch this again. There will be captions. Subtitles will be available later on, right there. And of course, until the next time we meet here on YouTube, stay safe, stay happy, stay alive, and I will see you on Sunday, 2 p.m. UK time. And of course, until the next time we meet here on YouTube. Ooh. Ta-ta for now.